What's going on, guys? This is Red Bull Tanker for Operation Fog of War, turn 13 for the United Kingdom. Turn's been going pretty deep. End of turn 12, began at turn 13, going pretty well. As always, we'll kind of go through an overview. The U.S. continuing to move forward. They've reconstituted the 30th Infantry Division for transport to Europe. The United States has brought in their United States is bringing forces, continuing to shuttle forces to Gibraltar and then to Italy. The U.S. has taken their 2 battleships and 2 carriers out of the Med now. I won't say where they're going yet. You'll probably see where they're going next turn. The U.S. has pushed into northern Italy, and we have created that Union Jack tab. We have created our own Air Force tab. So that is our current Air Force in Italy. Also, the United States has reconstituted the 1st Armored Division and has deployed the 45th Mechanized Infantry Division. Big news in Russia. The Germans and the Russians have been hurt really, really bad from the constant combat between each other. Unfortunately, Japan is coming up behind them now. They've taken their massive force from India and have pushed into Kazakhstan. Just zoom in here real quick. So Japan has moved in 7 infantry, 5 mechanized infantry, and 14 tanks. And 14 tanks into Russia. So Russia is looking really hard pressed now. And so we're planning to try and get some forces there to at least help them out. They've moved off their big fleet. I've had to actually break up the fleet because it's getting way too big. News over here, the Anzacs did a raid on Shanghai and Hong Kong and took those 2 for a turn, and then Japan took it back this turn. The U.S. laying out blockers against the Japanese to keep their fleet going while pulling the 3rd Army and the 1st and 7th fleets back to the Caroline Islands. And finally, they put some air down in the western United States, and they're leaving that lone mechanized infantry up in Alaska still. Okay, let's see here. So then we'll go over casualties quick. So these are all the casualties so far. Like I said, the biggest casualties came in Russia this turn. Germany has lost 5 infantry, a mech, an artillery, 9 tanks, and a fighter. The Russians have lost 3 infantry, 6 mech, 10 artillery, 6 tanks, and 2 AA guns. Japan's lost 2 infantry, 2 subs, a destroyer, and a mech. The U.S. has lost 2 destroyers and a transport. And the Anzacs have lost a destroyer, 3 transports, 3 infantry, an artillery, and a tank. And then the Anzacs those guys aren't casualties. Those are guys just doing a sneaky sneak across the map. We'll see where they end up. Then the U.S. scouted purchases again. The Germans are deploying 7 infantry, 6 artillery, 2 tanks, and Japan is deploying a fully loaded aircraft carrier, a sub, and a strategic bomber. However, this sub was killed on the American turn after it had been deployed in Sea Zone 37, so we add that to the list of Japanese casualties. And we know that carrier joined the carrier force here in Sea Zone 36 off of French Indochina. So the Japanese now have a massive carrier fleet to rival the U.S./Anzac carrier force. So things are coming to a head in the Pacific. All right, so we'll go into our turn now, starting off with some purchases. We are buying an airbase and a fighter this turn. We had 3 attacks, or 3 what you would call attacks. So we'll start in the Middle East first. So first off, in the Middle East, we took 1 infantry from Persia to reclaim East Persia, which revealed the Japanese having an infantry and 2 artillery in Turkmenistan, and then 2 infantry and 2 artillery in West India. Our next attack was against the Italians in Transjordan. We went in with 2 infantry and a strategic bomber, and it was a 1-for-1 trade. And we took Transjordan back. Oops. And revealed that the Germans had moved their planes off of Egypt, and Egypt is now solely a Italian defended position. And then finally, just to aid the United States in northern Italy, to keep the Germans from being able to blitz from Romania, we took our artillery on this U.S. transport and we landed in Yugoslavia. Now, we fully expect to lose it this turn, lose it in the coming turn to the Germans. But like I said, the whole point of us moving here was to make sure that no German none of the 2 German tanks from Romania can't come in and aid these German forces in taking it. Shoot, I forgot. The United States did scout Germany and Denmark, and now I can't remember. I forgot to put them on the board. Shoot. I think it was something like Denmark had like 3 or 6 German infantry, and then Germany had some had a couple units there too. Shoot. Well, sometimes with this game, you forget, you always forget to update certain aspects of it. But so those were our attacks this turn. And then, so some non-combats. So what we did with our non-combats, I'm gonna come here first. Whoops. So like I said, we have taken our air army and have moved it up into northern Italy to help the U.S. 5th Fleet. Whoops. Next, we took a tactical fighter, or a tactical bomber, out of Iraq. 1, 2, 3, 4, to join the air army, to join our air army in Italy. Now the U.S. 5th Army is protected by the bulk of the RAF. And then, let's see here. In the Middle East, we took our bomber and put it back in Iraq. Oops. Took our bomber, put it back in Iraq. The U.S. was generous enough to drop another fighter, though most of our planes here will probably be sent north to aid the Russians against the Japanese. And then our final non-combat is we have broken off a bit of the 8th Army and are shuttling it north into northwest Persia. I might get a different army card and put them under a different army command, but probably not. But so that's all of our, all the non-combats this turn. And then, because we're here in the Middle East, we deployed our air base in Iraq. Oops. We deployed an air base in Iraq, and we dropped our fighter in Iraq as well. Definitely got quite a bit of air power now that we can hopefully send up to the Russians to help them fend off this Japanese assault that's coming in about 2 turns. So then at the end of the turn, we did save 1 IPC. And we got 24, and then we got 24. So we collected 25 this turn. So we will have 25 to spend next turn. And that brings us to the end of turn 13. We now have only 1, 2, 3. We only have about well, let's see. We'll be going to turn 14, and like I said, after turn 18, the game is going to end. So hopefully hopefully we can still get ourselves in a good enough position that we can be crowned the winners of this game. So, like I said, that is it for our turn on turn 13, and we will see you guys next time for turn 14. So until then, guys, take care.